Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. Oh Lord, let me cut this. I just realized that my phone's on. Let me. I'm about to throw. I'm gonna definitely threw everything off. Let me get that together. Oh Lord.
Welcome to Changing Lives. Host is getting himself together. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Almost boogie that up. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Change the Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. I had to cut the ring off on the phone because this thing will pop off. Man, we got an awesome show planned for you guys tonight. And tonight we're gonna talk about something that I see a lot of people suffer in silence with it, and you really don't start talking about it till you get to a certain point in your life after the situation.
Okay.
And that's dealing with workplace racism while providing for your family. And with the show, a lot of times, I try to get a perspective from a black male father perspective. And I know a lot of brothers. I'm saying sisters don't, but I know a lot of brothers that deal with this particular subject matter. And so I want to have a discussion in regards to, just acknowledging it. Also get some tips on how to handle the situation, move forward with it. Because again, it's very tough. And it ain't it's one thing to see people go through a rough relationship.
Right.
Boy, it's a whole another thing. Boy, you see a man that went through life.
Right.
You done had to deal with stuff at the job. Mr. Such done beat him down. Then you got to go home and be a man after they've been chastised and broken all day long. Yeah. So again, tonight's show, we're talking about dealing with workplace racism while providing for your family, right? Again, this is Change Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. But the main hub is the Change Lives YouTube channel. And pretty much on Change Live, we talk about personal development, professional development, parenting. And like I said, I give everything from the perspective of being a black father. And I do want to I gave it to you guys last week, but give you another shout out. Happy belated Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
I had an awesome Father's Day. Man, it was cool.
It was
probably
good.
The best one.
Yeah, okay.
I just chilled by myself. Sleep by myself, threw stuff on the grill. Kids popped up at the crib. Chill by myself, drank by myself. Yeah, had a good time.
Smoke by yourself.
Yeah, smoke by myself. Yeah. My mom took me out to lunch today. Shout out to Mama.
What's going on, Mom?
Mom probably come in a little bit. Mom took me out. She said, "I'm taking somewhere special, babe." I said, "Okay, cool. Go somewhere nice." I said, "Okay, cool. Let's go to Chili's or Red Lobster."
Okay.
I'm like, okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah. See, we high on social status, so we stopped there at Red Lobster and everything. I had to get the warning first, so I get anything I want. I got $1 limit or something. I'm like, "No, you get whatever you like."
Right.
Like, okay. All right. So got my Admiral feast. Okay. Shout out to Mama, man. We had a good time.
What's going on, Mama? Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you, Mama. And she was like, "Yeah, we need to do it more often, at least once a month." I thought it was a good idea. But it went pretty good. But man, again, happy Lady Father's Day, all you fathers out there.
Yeah.
But even with this subject matter, man, it's a rough thing because a lot of time, man, as black men, people have all these perceptions of the strong black man, strong brother, and all this other kind of stuff. And we still have to deal in, the real world. And being realistic, we're not in a lot of executive managerial positions. Kind of like maybe that shift supervisor or something like that or whatever.
Right.
But for the most part, from a progression standpoint, when you go to most jobs, you got to deal with, white folks. You got to deal with somebody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You might deal with your own, but it's just a reality, right? It's not a bad thing, it's just how things are. And I'm gonna share a lot with myself because anybody know me. I don't ever get into the white man do this. Not I don't get in that too tough. But I am very realistic about if you see the ship sinking and there's water coming through the damn float.
Right.
The MF is probably gonna sink.
Right.
So sometimes, when you see behaviors and people will tell you, "Hey, man, you address this, say that," it's not gonna change it. And it's real tough, lab, when you have a job that you like. Like I really like this job, and theoretically the job is great, but it's the people.
Right. The
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the ins and outs and mechanicals of the job is a great job.
Yeah, in the day and age we in now, everybody wants to get on this, get rid of DEI and all this other kind of stuff. Look, man, the stuff was put there for a reason.
Yeah, but the thing is, what we always say, if you want to get rid of something, say black people get it the most, and it'll get gone. That really didn't. I mean, they wasn't like they were just hiring us off the street as we walk by. We still had to go through the same processes as everybody else, and probably them processes probably didn't help much because they still decide they want to do it or not based on your interview. We still have to go interviews. It's not that they blindly just hiring us and say, "Oh, this is DEI hire, let's hire them." No, we still have to do everything that everybody else has to do. We still have to have the same qualifications. And then once we go on the interview, if they decide they don't want to hire us because of whatever the case may be, they could think of some other reason, especially in the state of Georgia, because it's a right to work state. They don't have to hire you or fire you for any reason. So I just don't get why that was such a big issue for a lot of folks. But hey, it is what it is.
A lot of times when white people feel like people are taking stuff from them, they'll come up with all kind of stuff. Just like, just at the end of the day, realistically, the DEI, the actual opportunity people maybe get from DEI, be it for race, be it for gender, be it for sexuality, is it really scratching a dent?
Right. It's minimal.
And I just think sometimes, even just looking at like the transgender athletes and stuff like that, do I feel like men should be racing women? No. But what I am saying at the end of the day, we're talking about a small percentage. And sometimes, I would tell people they majoring in the minor, people get you kind of blinded to stuff like, man, that ain't really happening that often. But it's to rile people up and incense it with doing certain things. But to your point, man, I remember at my last job working, and it was a sister, the HR director, and I remember I had put in for the assistant controller. Controller. It was straight controller. And I remember the interviewing process. She's like, well, we got an interview. We went to lunch. And I said, let me ask you a question. Why am I interviewing? Because I seen that, because one thing about me, man, anybody knows me. I ain't got no problem opening my damn mouth.
Right.
So my mama said the day that was at lunch, she's like, yeah, Pooch, you ain't know how to get no problem. You just talk a lot.
That's what, hey, mama. She in the live. Hey, mama.
I said, Pooch, you don't get in trouble. You just talked all the damn time. I ain't never had no problem. Speaking of myself,
right.
Why am I getting interviewed? Right. And the reason why I asked that was and it was, like most corporate jobs, shit, it was like 98% white.
Right.
I said, all the other white, they just get promoted. Well, what do you? No, they just get promoted. Someone leaves, someone retires, they get promoted. The company really didn't get a lot from outside unless it was something maybe creative position or whatever. But I was like, wow, what the hell am I interviewing for? Why just that person left? Why didn't I just
get promote from within?
Yeah, hadn't had a negative performance report. Hadn't had none of that stuff. 15 years. All this other shit coming up, and I remember, man, like, well, we just doing stuff different. Now we're doing this shit different because of my black guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And and I ain't never get off that tone. I remember the interview. Asking these stupid ass questions about this, that, man, you know what the hell I do. Went through that, and I said a week later, it was my actual my supervisor, which was the CFO, and the HR, and somebody in charge of insurance. And before we got started, we were getting started, the statement was, well, Deonte, we bring somebody in because you don't know this, you don't know, they know this, they know that. And before you get to talking, Deonte, we know you're gonna be upset, but it's probably the best thing you can get an opportunity to learn a lot from them. Pause for a second. And I always tell people that when you get bullshit said to you, the best thing you can do is pause and process by 5 or 10 minutes. Get your thoughts together. Don't just respond. Let's ask you a question. How do you know what I know?
Right.
So now you gotta sit here and like everybody's quiet. Well, then I said, well, this is what we're doing. That's what's going on. I said, well, I'm just speaking. Yeah, and then what got me? Let me skip the They told me they were bringing somebody else in, and they gave me a list of different things they wanted me to do. And I said, "Well, then y'all gonna increase my pay?" They're like, "No, you just learn these things. Well, you got a good opportunity to learn from this person." I said, "You didn't give me the position. You give me more stuff to do, and then you ain't gonna increase my pay." Chuck said, "Yeah, basically."
Yeah.
Like I said, and everybody know, man. I'll share this story. I think it was April, and that August I resigned.
Right.
I ain't did shit. But prep my ass to leave.
To get ready to go.
And I had to get over that fear of change.
And that'd be the hardest thing.
Yeah, financially I was okay, but and also psychologically, while we're having this conversation dealing with workplace racism while providing for your family, it hurt. I don't give a damn how tough you are, mentally tough. It hurt because as a man, I grew up in Bankhead, and we had a financial services matter program at Harvard, and that always turned me on. Like, yeah, man, I want to work downtown Atlanta, get me a briefcase with a suit, have an office, and I did everything that you wanted to do. That I wanted to do.
That you set out.
I learned how overrated this shit was.
Right.
But I say all that to say, it's you proud of yourself. You done did everything for yourself that you need to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything that you need to do for yourself. You put those things in place. Man, to get somebody to kind of decapitate you.
Cut you off at the knees. Yeah.
And man, it hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be real with you, lad. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, as I've got older, especially north of 40, I can't imagine what my granddaddy or great granddaddy
had to deal with.
With the head down.
Yeah.
Getting called boy.
Yeah.
And never. And here's the thing about it. Even though you can encounter work, and for myself, encounter workplace racism and be able to do it, I got enough education credentials. I can go to another place.
Right.
Like, imagine, damn, it's not as bad as the caste system like in India and all that stuff, but it's damn near like you can only do this.
Right.
Like, boy, you can't do that. Boy, imagine you damn 40, 50 years old grown kids getting called boy.
Yeah.
And I just imagine that. And I can't.
The PTSD that would cause.
Yeah, and I don't think really people really talk about that enough. It's kind of like, with all of us that are, I would say, 40 to 60 years old, the impact the crack era had, especially we had parents that was on drugs, never talking,
right?
It never spoken about, right? And but it made some deep wounds that a lot of us sit there. You sit there like, man, especially people I know like myself, they had a parent. You know what I'm saying? No, my mama didn't use drugs. It was the other parent. Right. So my mom was on the line. Right. Who he talking about? But the other parent.
Right.
But just the impact. And you just can't imagine, like, psychologically, you are proud of yourself.
For making it out of that.
Making it out of that, you go home and you even want to be feel like the man of your home. But the majority of your day, you getting castrated, downgraded, this, that, and that. And man, it's tough.
Yeah.
We talking about these are things that black men have had to deal with for years. And I ain't saying us justifying a damn thing, lad, but a lot of things, if you look at those, cause a lot of actions. Maybe domestic violence, maybe infidelity. Because you might got to go somewhere, you got to get that escape. You might go somewhere at home, look, I'm snapping. I'm not trying to make excuses.
Right.
But you can see where the root,
and a lot of us don't really conversate with other black men about what's going on with us mentally, financially, and emotionally. We don't do that. That's just not how we were raised. Now the next generation might be different, but us our age, 40, 50, that was raised with our grandparents and the parents back in the day, they always told us, you don't cry. You know what I'm saying? Don't cry. Don't show no emotion. Don't do that. So it's kind of difficult for us to express our emotions and express how we feel about certain things, especially when we're dealing with things on a workplace basis, because that is what feeds our family. So we psychologically, we know if we lose this job, we got to feed our family, we got to take care of our bills, then we're gonna really be looked at as a deadbeat because we don't have a job. So we got that stigmata on us. So we got to take it. They say don't quit the job till you find a job. Well, sometimes that's harder to.
Well, that's a great point you just brought up in regards to the issue of not crying and not venting, because you start talking to somebody, it's like you're bitching. But the thing of it is too, you understand why a lot of times men went
we bottled that up.
They might have had domestic violence. They might have went to alcoholism or drugs and stuff like that. Some kind of way to suppress that, because the stress and pain don't disappear.
Right.
It got to go somewhere.
And
depending on what you have to get through that.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. It's just, again, parents don't do a good job, in my opinion. I'm speaking for myself, and really even elders. I would just say elders, talking about the turmoil they went through in their life. You know what I'm saying? You might get an old OG, then you want to talk. But going through it, they don't do a good job. I try to be very conscious of that.
Yeah.
With my children, just like, hey man, I ain't saying this ain't gonna happen,
right?
But I am telling you, prepare for this stuff. Because one thing about me, I will say this: being in corporate America, I learned so much in regards to protecting myself. Hold on 1 second. Thanks for talking. I learned so much in regards to how to protect myself. Because, Lab, I'm gonna be real with you. Many a times, you got vultures, the people that'll cut you, and you learn those defense mechanisms, how to sit here and just put yourself in the right spot. Because
right.
People can man, I'm telling you, as a black man in corporate America, this is my opinion.
Right. Right.
If you got 1%, 1% confidence, it makes people very uncomfortable. Now, if you're feminine acting, or if you're it's not a negative thing, it's just an honest damn opinion. If you assimilate well, like if you listen to some the predominantly white or favorite music, and what I'm saying is just like pop rock, like doing certain things.
You can have a conversation with them about what they're talking about.
Hold on one second. Thanks for calling Change Your Lives.
Yes, I see that y'all was calling in to talk about dealing with workplace racism. Should I just keep listening to the live or wait till they say call in?
Well, the live right now. Go ahead and talk to them. You talk now. What's going on?
No, and I was just dealing with the situation, and I got some good facts that I think the people would love to know about it. I'm out of Delaware.
Okay.
And I'm a supervisor at a casino, and I'm actually dealing with it right now.
Okay, tell your story, brother.
Huh?
Okay, we listen to you.
Nah, I said I'm working with and the thing is, okay, when they hired me, right, and I'm gonna tell you how I'm dealing with the racism. When they hired me, they told me that they had a problem with a few immigrants, but they wanted me to get rid of them, and I was like, that didn't sound right to me at first. But as I go working along with them now, mind you, these people don't speak kind of like good English at all, like at all. So the first incident I had, now I've been here about 6 months, but the first incident I had with one of them, one grabbed my shirt and started like threatening me. That was the first incident I happened with one of them, and I reported it. But when I reported it, they came back and said that I was getting loud with him. That's why he did that to me. So that's when I felt like, oh, okay. They trying to do this like, type of retaliation anytime you report. Because to mind you, I'm a supervisor. He's just an employee. So anytime you threaten somebody, you should automatically be fired. That's in the rule book. But they just gave him a couple of days off, and then he came back. And then he did it again. And I'm reporting it now. And I even reported to corporate and to the HR, to the vice president. And they talking about we don't really have no hard evidence. I'm like, but what supervisor is going to lie on somebody like that? And then I think they doing all of this to cover up that they hiring illegals. And I can prove that they hiring illegals because my supervisor just hired a brother the other day, and I asked him, like, text message, like, if you're having a problem with one person or one group of people, why do y'all keep hiring the same illegals? Because they can pay them, and the reason is they can pay them $8 or $9, but our minimum wage is $15.
Well, let me say something to you, brother, and I appreciate you calling. I'm gonna say this too.
Okay.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I didn't want you to go too far before I forgot something that you said. I will say this, number one, we're gonna go over this a little bit into the show. Always make sure things are documented, even if it's recorded. If you know there's someone that you've already had some kind of challenges with, or issue or instance with before, you have to deal with them. Either things that have to be recorded, they can be audio or visual.
Actually, and see, the thing about it is, okay, sir, the other day they pulled me into the office about this incident, and because the security guard told me the same thing you telling me. The security guard at the place, the black guy, told me, he said, man, the guy's trying to bully you. He said the only way they're gonna take what you saying serious is you record the guy. And that's what I did one time. And I called them and I told them, but they talking about they came to me and said they're gonna give me 2 weeks to come on day shift, or they're gonna terminate me.
Well, you got hear me out what I'm about to say though. This is probably where the biggest mistake you make, because I did the same thing. You're talking to people, you're not talking to an attorney. And see, a lot of times what people don't understand, what's legal and what's right are two different things.
Got you, right. Understand.
And see, here's the deal. A lot of times when you deal with corporations and people about, take advantage of your ignorance. Not saying you don't know anything. It's just that you may not necessarily know the proper protocol. Like here in the state of Georgia.
Correctly. I understand that, right? Like I don't know the right information.
Yeah.
Correctly.
But when you talk to an employment attorney, they'll give you the right protocol, because you might have missed a step. Because normally what you did what most people would be accustomed to doing. Let me talk to my supervisor and do anything. Let me go to the person over them. That still may not, you might have had to go to an outside agency first, because it varies from state to state, right? So I would just advise you, talk to an employment attorney, give them a spiel, and then get some kind of protocol. Because at the end of the day, when you're doing things that they tell you to do, you're doing things in compliance with them. But I will say something to you that, you got to take this into consideration. You said that what supervisor over somebody would lie about somebody grabbed them. A lot of them would.
Right. So see what you saying? They gonna say, okay. But the thing about it is, they don't understand. If you told me that the guy is a problem before I even got there, how you hire me and then I'm the problem? He was the problem before I even got there.
Well, at the end of the day,
right?
How they handle it, the why they did it. I wouldn't get so concerned with that. They might be worried about the illegals. They might be worried about a lawsuit. That's not your concern. Your concern is your welfare. Go talk to an attorney. Find out what you should or shouldn't do. Because I'm gonna just be honest with myself. I resigned from a job that I was mistreated at, and to start my own work full time for myself. And when I talked to an attorney afterwards, they told me the reason why I couldn't sue is because I resigned to do something for myself. But if I would have sued them while I still was working, I had a case. And that's the state of Georgia. Now, hear me out. You're in Delaware. It may be a totally different thing. That's why you want to talk to an attorney, because when you spend time because when you spend time talking to different people, they're giving you their opinion. They're not giving you the law. And like I said again, what happens far too often is people get confused what's right and wrong with what's legal.
And what's legal, right? The only reason I said that is because I went through a situation like something similar to this, and I did all my homework on it. So now when I go to certain places, when they do certain things, I already know they breaking the law. I already know the law. I know you breaking the law. Yeah. I already know this. But a lot of times, like I said, we try to, like, us as black men, we try to, like, look the other way because of the job. This might be my job. I ain't had a job in a couple months. or whatever. So certain things we just like it ain't happened to me because a lot of times the stuff was happening the whole time. Because I told you I've been there 6 months, but it just recently started happening to me. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like,
and I hate to say it, probably will continue to do it, but that's why I'm stressing to you. I would go to, use the proper protocol to go out because you proper protocol outside of the organization. You've done what a person would do. You document. You say you're going through the chain of command or with doing it. But I would speak with an attorney, and I'll get maybe 2 or 3 opinions in regards to, hey, this is the situation, because by everything varies from state to state. We're in a right to work state in Georgia, so somebody can lay you off when they want to, but you also can leave when you want to, like I did. But I would talk to somebody, an attorney that can tell you exactly what to do. Because to be honest with you, and that's why I was alluding to earlier, life is already rough enough. And when you go to work, and that's where you got to make your money at. That's when we have accidentally you cut somebody out, you lost your job. You swing at somebody, now you done lost your job. And it really is just a residual of you getting mistreated here, mistreated there. I try to do this, I try to do that, I try to do that. And people snap. People snap. And it happens all the time. So you have to protect yourself. And that's what I'm saying. I would go and put the things in motion to say, okay, let me go talk to somebody. I did everything here. I talked to this person, I talked to that person. And I would advise you to go talk to 2 or 3 employment attorneys and lay it on them. Because at the end of the day, I will say this to you and be very, very honest with you. You complaining or you putting a complaint in does not have near the impact as somebody with Esquire or such law firm at the end of their name.
Right. I understand that. And the crazy thing about it was the boss lady that works with me, she told me, she said, I think they trying to push you out because of the immigration they got. Because all they hire is immigrants in the kitchen. It's at a casino. So that tells you, like, if you just hiring in one area and you only hiring these certain people, that people don't even look at that. But that has nothing to do with kind of like me. I can't control that at this time. Like, who they hire. They're going to continue to hire the same people. Like, Yeah. So the best thing I can do is try to, like, operate. But it's kind of hard. Like I told you, none of them really basically understand English. So it's going to be, a problem.
I'm sorry, I ain't mean to cut you off. Your focus just need to take care of you. If they hiring illegals or not, like that's something like you'll get to talking about that, and they pull out some documents. Now the weight of your argument kind of loses because you bring up that. Your focus need to be you were mistreated. Somebody put their hands on you. Somebody bothered you. Hey, that way your focus. Now you can mention that in something else if you want to do a whistleblower.
Right. I see what you're saying. I got you. I
because here's the thing about it, man. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. A lot of time when you did, and I learned this being in corporate America, and when you see something being wrong, they might be 3 or 4 steps ahead, got themselves covered. Now you sitting there like, hey, because you don't know if they know such and such or whatever. But when you start bringing attorneys in and all this other stuff, and possible lawsuits because things that have been done illegally, that's what gets things changed. But when you try, well, they did this, they did that. I know what they trying to do. See, they've been sneaking and doing that. Excuse me, you really don't know. They might have documentation for them. Your focus.
But but this is the thing about you. What if I can prove it?
No, yeah. But the biggest thing.
I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Legally,
you might can prove it, but at the end of the day, your biggest fight right now is to make sure you protect. Like,
got you. Forget everything else. That's what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah,
I understand that. Got you.
After you good, you want to do a whistleblower. Hey, this what's going on. Cool. You want to call the news station. Hey, they got this and that going on. You want to call ICE. You can do it, but take care of you first, because at the end of the day, you never know what steps they had in place to cover their
right. I understand it.
Yeah, we got to make sure you good first. But that's why I'm very, very careful about. And I talk to people. I get opinions, and I do a lot of research. Just like you said, hey, I found these things out. But call that attorney. Call you 2 or 3 attorneys to find it, because at the end of the day, they can do what they're doing in regards to turning a blind eye ignore you and stuff like that. They might can, because that varies from state to state.
Got you. I know.
But we, as black men, those are the kind of things, and I appreciate you, standing up for yourself and doing that. But you do not get off of that, and that happens a lot. People get off the actual thing that they be focused on. Well, man, they don't like me. I used to date this person. I do this. I play like that's all that kind of stuff. The whys we assuming, but what we do know, you were done wrong. We do know somebody touched you. We do know you went to somebody. That's what you need to focus on.
Got you. Yeah, and he did it. The thing about it is, when I went to him, I can prove I reported this dude like 3 times. It's like, and the crazy thing about it is, he doesn't even work like on my shift. I got you. That's why I said, just go call that attorney up. But listen, brother, I don't mean to cut you short, but definitely reach out to an attorney, let them know, and talk. Like I said, talk to 2 or 3. Talk to 2 or 3, man. But I appreciate you standing up for yourself, but just focus on that. Yeah. All the other stuff, But listen, man, I appreciate you tuning in, man. You take care of yourself. All right, I am gonna listen to the rest of the line, man. Take care, man. All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate you calling in, man. And Lamb, that's the thing about a lot of times. I appreciate that brother calling in. A lot of times, man, when we get to talking about this, that, man, that shit ain't got nothing to do with that. Right. We need to like, hey, what we got going on. Yeah, all the other stuff. And what happens is, if they cover themselves on that stuff, it devalues. See, he just accusing. He just accused. He already said that's why we're trying to get rid of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He said that. That was a lie. He said that. That was a lie. We got this, that, and that. No, that. Stick with it. Right. All the other stuff, that's the thing about it. He touched me. He tried to hurt me. Yeah. That's all I'm focused on. But I appreciate that brother reaching out. Yeah, most definitely. And we start talking about again. Guys, feel free to call in. Also, you want to add to the conversation. 678-740-9894. Again, it's 678-740-9894. Talking about dealing with workplace racism while providing with your family. And here's the thing: understanding the dual pressure. You're expected to perform at work, even if it's this hostile or biased environment. You're carrying responsibility of providing, protecting, and leading your home. The pressure that you just endure it for the paycheck, man, it's hard. Like the brother just said, you scared as hell. You worry about your livelihood and all that kind of stuff. And everybody go through it all the time. And that's one of the biggest things. It was about 10 or 12 years ago, Bush Watkins said, and it always stuck with me, get that FU money. And that FU money is get yourself, hopefully, financially in a spot where you ain't got to endure that. Now, I do know probably 98% of people walking around here ain't got no FU money. Right. So again, I'm not one of them ones to tell you certain things. But what I do say at the end of the day, if you know the ship is sinking, you know things are going a certain way, the more you continue to endure stuff, the more you put certain things on yourself. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Don't feel that you can't do nothing else. Don't ever feel that way. I think a lot of times when we have these jobs and we have these issues at certain jobs and certain corporate things that we know that we need to leave, but the prospect of trying to find something else, and you start saying to yourself, man, if I leave this job, even the way they treat me, it may be months before I find another one. And to be honest, a lot of us don't want to be not working for a couple of months. We really want to be working and find and stay working and do everything we can to take care of our family, especially if we have children and we're married. That whole being without a job for 2 months thing for a lot of us black men is a very difficult thing to deal with. Well, and we'll put up with a bunch of stuff till the fuse is about to blow up. You get what I'm saying? Till the fuse gets down to the dynamite. Well, just say it can be other things too, lad. You can say, okay, I don't want to leave here because it's close to my house. My child's can get ready to graduate, and they got a scholarship thing. I'm already vested or this, that, and I got so many years before I can get a certain pension. I can leave, but I may not necessarily make the money I do here. I can go somewhere else, but they might give me way more tasks and stuff to do for the money. So it can be several reasons why that you want to put up with BS. It's the same thing with a marriage. Right. It's the same thing with a neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? You start weighing the pros and cons. Right. And but in that con is hurting you. Right. But people endure so much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's true. Real talk, like I say, you can be highly employable. Right.
But then when you start saying like, shit, man, hell ain't working now.
Right.
I'm working remote. Hey man, look, I ain't, hey, look, man. They don't have me doing this, doing that stuff, and you start weighing it and everything. And that not, and I ain't trying to make excuse about that, but those kind of things hit with that. And it's amazing how much stuff you're like, hey, my wife been gone 3 or 4 days with a boyfriend. I know she's gonna try to cut my pension or steal my house. So I'm just gonna keep on letting them. Hey, lab, you laughing.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, boy.
I had an issue. When I was working at I've always been in real estate and managing and taking care of shopping centers and stuff like that, which is a very lucrative, very good job. And I had an issue when the job that I worked at actually, I've never been fired or left a job. I've always got laid off because the company, closed down or whatever. When that company closed down, it was a very stressful thing because I made very good money there. And to find another job took me a while. I mean, it took me a long time because I wasn't even asking for the same amount of money. It was just I kept going on interviews and all these other things. And I believe that where I worked at, this guy he was a very big deal in the real estate department. Everybody knew him. And when I left, I thought I left on good terms, but I believe that within that shopping center and that real estate part of shopping center, I believe he kind of blackballed me because every job I went to for an interview, they was like, "Oh, you used to work here," and then they'll start nitpicking little stuff on my resume. Well, you left a period out right there, and then and so it became a very and that part of job searching, a lot of people don't really think about that part of job search, especially when you're rushing trying to get a resume out because you lost a job that you wasn't expecting to lose, and you rushing to get stuff, you're trying to do stuff, and that whole I had 2 interviews that did me that way, and that whole thing just put a very bad taste in my mouth.
Well,
and then I went to a law firm, of course. I went to work for the law firm, and even working at a law firm, it wasn't and I'm gonna say this, and women can get mad. It wasn't a racial thing. It was just all women worked there a lot, and the women who worked there, was 3 women who controlled it. That was the managers over everybody.
Yeah,
and it was just, it was. I'm not one of those people who gonna talk about or gossip a lot or talk about, but it was just the whole cattiness of the whole place. I stayed there for 5 years, but it was just the whole cattiness of the whole place was just it was a downer to me.
Gender inequality can be just as negatively impactful as racism in office.
Yeah.
You that one guy in the office, or you an office full of men, and 1 or 2 females. That can happen a lot. Just doing so. That's just as common. As the racial.
And a lot of the attorneys were men, but they was attorneys, so they was not there a lot.
So let me ask you a question, Larry. This kind of what I would try to look at. You left. Did you leave Tulsa? Because I always say, it's psychologically easy to get a job when you got a job. So did you just leave and then look, or you left to go?
What you talking about for when I got to the law firm?
Yeah, when you saying that, so you actually
they laid me off.
Laid you off. I got you.
I was laid off because they owed like $800 million.
Yeah,
it was that whole time when they had the real estate crisis.
Gotcha.
And he was borrowing money to build other shopping centers, and the bank was like, "Well, we need our money back." So he didn't have $800 million to give back. So he eventually had to cut, and eventually got to a point to where he couldn't have a bunch of employees.
You more forced out.
Yeah.
With that.
I mean, now get me, and I never faced it. I don't feel like, I did when I first went there. I felt some racism, but it wasn't from the people who owned the company.
Yeah,
it was from people within the office where I was taking over at a certain point. That they, how when you sitting at a table, you having a conversation with people, and they maybe chatting back and forth on the chat, and they just keep laughing and looking at you. I knew that was going on, but it was okay because I was there to take over and show you how to do things the right way. Because he saw how I was doing things at this other shop center. Now he wanted me to take over all these other shop centers and show y'all how to do it. And of course, that person eventually left. But within the company, I didn't face anything. I don't feel like I faced any racial things at the company. And they were all white folks. I was the only black person worked there.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I faced it. Now it was a case of it was all mostly family because he had all his children and his son-in-laws and his daughters working there, and there was a few other folks. But I don't feel like it was. I never felt any racial things.
Well, let's look at what workplace racism can look like. Number one can be microaggressions, subtle digs, tone policing, being passed over despite qualifications, tokenism, you being placed at the face of diversity without any influence or support. This was real big in the early 2000s when they would you had a lot of lawsuits coming in. I remember that it's like damn near every organization had a director of diversity came up, and it was usually a Black or Hispanic female. They were just given to them. Like they never were given any real authority,
right?
But just to say, okay, we just put this, and they killed them 2 birds with 1 stone.
Right?
They're doing that, but I remember that vividly in the early 2000s. We're gonna end sexism and all that stuff, but that was a position that a lot of corporations put in, director of authority of diversity director, but it's usually like a Black female, sometimes Hispanic, but mostly like a Black female. And like I said, they had and the most thing that they would do, just looking at other organizations, talking to your friends and stuff, have like a little luncheon. What does this look like? What is that? Right. They had no authority.
Right.
It was just that tokenism.
No hiring or firing or anything.
Exactly. Right. It happens a lot of time, brothers, hey, we're gonna put you in this spot. But when you get in them rooms where discussions are made or input, don't give a shit. Yeah, sit your ass in that corner.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
You ain't got nothing to say
but
about
I'm a such and such too. Say it too.
Right.
No, what the hell we tell you to do? Biasness and promotions and pay, seeing your work overlooked while others are being rewarded. I wasn't that bullshit. That's why I said, man, and typically you'll never know these certain things because things have been done, whatever. But that's what, and you might not be privy to the information. But that's why I said I had no problem asking, why the hell am I getting interviewed and I ain't been interviewing people?
Right.
I can look back at this is the reason I don't want to say I was just so courageous, but I was making so much money in the tax business, running properties, the cleaning. I was making so much money out of that. I was making great money at my job, but I was making so much money outside of my job.
Right.
I wasn't hurting for money.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I had
your
all
bills
that.
Was good. You was good.
Yeah. I had a bank. I had all that other stuff. So I was, so I don't lose sight of that in regards to some people's apprehensions, right? So I'm very mindful of that. So I definitely don't want to say like I was just Mr. Rebel. I ain't never bit my damn tongue, but majority of my life I've been okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I'm confident enough in myself to say, okay, look, man, I can get the hell on.
Right.
But I know that was really a response. And that's like that with a lot of jobs. You don't like it, you can leave.
Yeah.
But you're wrong. And that's probably like the brother called earlier, like, people want, like, hey man, I'm being wrong here. Well, if you don't like it, you can go
leave.
somewhere.
That's the favorite word.
And you like,
leave.
Damn, you can't fix it. But they can fix it. They just want to fix it for you, right? Yeah. Another thing we talk about how the workplace racism look is a hostile culture. You got folks jokes, code words, exclusion from management and networks and stuff. Like that's what racism look like. When we start thinking about those kind of things, you see it. Those are the kind of things that you're going to be actually accustomed to. We're dealing with it. And some of the strategies for protecting yourself emotionally and professionally. Because, man, Chris Rock said it best. I ain't saying OJ did it.
Right.
He was right for doing it. But I understand.
Right.
And a lot of times, man, people poke. And, man, I thank God me and my cousin Nick, we were sitting there. Me and my cousin, we had a good time last night, man. But Nick was at the crib, man. And he was just like, hey, Pooh, I'm just venting. And I'm just cussing and whatever. He said, man, you might want to leave. You saying some words that really can be turned, into actual actions.
Right.
And sometimes you have to be very protect yourself. People don't snap on purpose.
Right.
And I think all of us, you be like, man, I just said this. And just cuss your supervisor out, did this, that, and that. You gotta ride home because you got a family, you got bills, you got responsibilities. It happens all the time. I know I got a temper. I know it. I had a temper my whole life. That's when I know, like, hey, all right, okay, hey, all right, let's get out of this. Hey, I'll call you back.
Right.
All right, let me get out of it because I know you can be 1 or 2 sentences away from this and that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And we talk about that all the time, that emotional intelligence. So we start thinking about strategies for protecting yourself emotionally, professionally. Number one, like I said earlier, document everything. Keep records of incidents, dates, witnesses, and emails. Create a paper trail. It protects you if HR or legal steps become necessary. Not I thought, not I believe, not I remember. I got this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you respond back to people with an email, and that's why sometimes people say, "Well, I'll just call them or whatever." And everything.
I don't do that.
People forget.
I don't do that. I at my job right now, I don't want to say what it is, but at my job right now, people say, "Well, pick up and call." I said, "No, I don't call." I said, "Everything I do, I email because I want to have a paper trail. Because you're not going to be able to say, Lab said this because he didn't. It's in the email. I do not call anyone. I email you first, and we have a conversation on email. I'm very strict about that when it comes to corporate. Email is what I do because people can easily say, "You said such and such." No, I did not. Here's the email. When did you talk to me?
I learned that early in corporate America. Got office right next to mine. Hey, Deonte, you gonna take care of this stuff tomorrow and get this stuff done? Yeah, I get everything to you. Cool. Never was a problem, whatever. Maybe a minute or two after he would just say something to me. Office next to me. Per our conversation, Deonte, this, that, I'll get an email.
Most definitely.
What was he doing? Creating that paper trail. But at the end of the day, I ain't tripping. But I know you do that. I do the same thing. Hey, Deonte, you could have just
no. It's just so I can remind myself.
Well, old boy says cool when they do it.
Right.
Wrong when I do it. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, and that was the thing that you got to make sure you protect yourself. It business ain't that person.
Right. But most definitely, I do it all the time. People be frustrated with me, and even if I do have a conversation, I'll send an email.
Yeah.
Hey, per the conversation we just had on Teams, you said you were gonna do this, and I tell people at the office, the people my people, I tell them all the time, I say, man, y'all got this idea in y'all head that we all friends. Ain't no friends when it comes down to your job or theirs. I say, you guys got to get out the mindset of we all are friends here. It's great to talk and go to lunch with folks, but when it comes to this job and this business and their family versus your family, they're going to choose their family every time.
Absolutely.
And you damn sure got to make sure that you have a paper trail to show that. Y'all get up here, y'all talk, and y'all call each other, y'all I take care of it, no problem. No. Email me.
And it's definitely no excuse for it in 2025.
Right.
Because things that we have now, we didn't have 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So you definitely can protect yourself now. So again, we're talking about strategy, protect yourself professionally, emotionally. Use that chain of command wisely. If safe, bring concerns to the supervisor HR. If safe, because you might be going to somebody that as soon as you tell them, right? So you got to make sure you be wise about that. Now, again, bring Sexy Red Bone says no friends, big facts. The thing people have to understand, you got a temperament. You do have to legally bring something to somebody's attention. But if you see, okay, things don't go in a certain way, you can justify, well, look, I brought this to him and that didn't happen. But I brought this to him and next thing I know somebody said something to me that if I told them that was the only person that knew. So you judge that in regard to find out if it is safe to talk to that supervisor HR. Frame the conversation in terms of impact on your ability to perform and thrive. Frame the conversation in terms of the impact on your ability to perform and thrive. Like I told the gentleman earlier, the other shit, but them damn illegals and stuff, that don't concern you. That don't concern you. And I'm so glad he called because far too often people say they do shady stuff. They do this, they do. That ain't got shit to do with you. You just want to talk about the impact of their actions, how that affects you.
Right.
How it affects your performance. How it is a place on you. You know what I'm saying? You have to do that. We get caught in too much. Well, they messing with this person. They dating that person. That ain't your damn concern.
Right.
Your concern is you. Your concern is you because people will twist your shit up. And if you find, if it's found that anything you're saying about them is not true, that devalues your argument. Because now you're showing as a person that does a lot of hearsay and accusation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to keep focused on yourself. Sexy Redbone says at the workplace, absolutely. They say paper trail is the key. Absolutely. And like I said, man, in 2025, man, you ain't got no damn excuse because you have all the systems in place. Seek support privately and publicly. Talk to trusted colleagues, mentors, and therapists. Make sure you're talking to people that at the end of the day, you know it ain't gonna go no further. Again, you don't want to be saying that you got some friends, you love them, they care about you, but hey, don't say nothing about this, but such did this. Hey, listen, between me and you, but this person here, so be careful.
Right.
When it comes to your private stuff. Something you don't mind or whatever, hey, that's cool.
Right.
You know, they talk or whatever, but if it's personal, private stuff, protect you, right? Join employee resource groups or outside support networks for Black professionals. Again, guys, I'm just saying you need to make sure that you talk to these kind of people because when you going through stuff, it's critical. It's critical that you're talking to people that give you credible, verifiable information. People telling you, hey man, they be trying to do this or they do that. You don't need that.
Right.
You need people that actually can give you support. I get it. But you need people that's going to be able to tell you this is the proper steps. This is the legal steps. Not what they think, not what they hope or whatever. You be sitting there documenting the wrong damn shit, doing all kind of stuff. And, you know, you talk to an attorney like, I don't need that.
Right.
And you thought you doing the right thing.
Right.
Well, that's why I say,
this ain't necessary.
People have to understand what's legal and what's right and what's wrong. They all different. Because the shit that's be totally wrong, but it's legal. You know what I'm saying?
And it might be wrong to just you.
Yeah.
And it might be fine with everybody else.
Absolutely. That's
just the truth of the matter.
So you have to know those particular things, right? Practice emotional regulation. So glad that brother called. You have to don't suppress, you got to process. Don't sit there dwelling in, they did me wrong. What do I need to do? What's my next move? What I need to do? Hey, what's my next move?
It's always chess when it comes to corporate. It's always chess, it's never checkers.
Ain't nothing wrong with being hurt. Ain't nothing wrong being bothered. It's something wrong staying in that shit. You have to sit there and say to yourself, well, look, that happened to me. That happened to me. They did me wrong. They didn't promote me. They did this, that, and that, right? But you have to turn around and sit here and start like, okay, be methodical.
Let me tell you that methodical part. I mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. When I was working at the law firm, and you know, right before the pandemic, you know, they brought us all in the office. You know, I saw the work getting less and less. They brought us into the office. Oh, don't worry about it. We're gonna take care of it. So I said, so when we went to meet, I said, I'm gonna record this meeting. Took my phone, I just set it on the table. You know, like everybody had their phone on the table, so it wasn't no big deal. So I recorded the meeting. Oh, we're gonna take care of y'all. Don't worry about it. We're gonna figure out some work for y'all to do. We're gonna do everything we can to make sure y'all have a job. 1 week later, they came in my office and said, we're gonna have to let you go. I said, y'all just said a week ago that y'all gonna take care of us and make sure we had a job. We never said that. Click. Click. Well, things have changed. Yeah, I thought so. But when you present it with the evidence that what they said in their own voice, they get shaky.
Yeah. So did you try to sue or anything?
No, I said, let me get my separation notice now.
Yeah.
So I can go to the unemployment office today.
Yeah. So
it wouldn't be no lag in my, even though it was a lot less than what I was making, it still was something that I wanted it.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Lyle, is this sometimes we reflect back, man, I might could have did this, I might could have did that. But you know, depending on where we at in life,
right.
Like I said, I've been pressed because when I remember like shit. I don't even know if PJ might have been born. I'm just my two oldest boys. I had got they downsized. I was working for a home building in Atlanta, and the way they did something similar, very unprofessional. Even when I go into the Department of Labor, you know they got all your cousins down there working, and you know because you be so. I really was pressed. I ain't had no money.
Right.
I really was pressed.
Right.
I got a little baby or whatever like that. A little boy.
And you do be pressed.
Yeah. So I can see like you miss steps, and then you get further on. Man, I could have did this. I could have did that. But that's why people play on that kind of stuff because
I don't think I could have did anything because it was right when that happened. The next week, everybody shut down.
Yeah. So
it was kind of one of those things to like.
Who gonna sue? They ain't open.
Right.
I got you.
The law firms ain't even over. Who I'm gonna sue? At the unemployment office closed. Like,
you know, but definitely want to protect yourself. You know, you can journal, fitness, prayer. meditation, and just you want to avoid burnout because that those things again when you snap or have that negative response, now you on the other side where he cussed everybody out at the job. Now you've been mistreated all them time or whatever. But that right there is what everybody gonna stick on. Yeah, he snapped and cussed folks out and stuff like that. They could have been wrong. But your response is, hey, we got you doing this, we got you doing that. What they did, they don't have.
Yeah.
But they got you doing this. And you gotta protect yourself because I'm telling you, man, and this
you'd be surprised how many people don't think about protecting themselves at a job. Like they don't think about the smart, like when I'm at my job, I always say, if it's a young lady I'm dealing with and her name is Erica, I say Miss Erica. They say, well, somebody actually said, why you say Miss in front of their name? Because I don't want them to be able to say nothing's out sexual harassment in any kind of way. It's going to always be respect when I say something on email or something to them, because I don't really talk to anybody in person. I keep my headphones on and I keep it pushing. But I'm always thinking about the what ifs.
Well, it's funny you saying that, Lab. I'm at Starbucks, and I could tell by the voice, female. Boy, she looked like Bluto. When I pulled up to get my drink, I said, "Thank you, ma'am," and she gave me a look.
Right. Well, I don't say ma'am. I just say Miss, like Miss Gail or Miss whoever.
Well,
I always do that because I just wanted to know. Look, we here. This is a professional thing going on.
I think she wanted a circle. She was delicious.
But people don't.
She was really delicious.
But people don't really take into consideration protecting themselves at a job. Like the small little thing, you'd be surprised how you can get caught up on small little things that you think is nothing,
no harm.
And I like people be laughing and talking and saying inappropriate things. I'm thinking, one of my supervisors before he went to another job, I was like, why would he say that to her? Like you can't. And I'm just like, I would never say any of these things these people be saying.
Two things. I think people be either ignorant to, and when I say ignorant, I'm talking about more so don't know the impact. They just genuinely don't mean no harm, but they just say certain things or whatever. Or like, oh, Lab, that don't bother. Lab, cool. I'm just gonna say any damn thing,
right,
or whatever, whatever. Or Lab, I done say some shit around them, or and whatever. But everybody ain't cool with it. And the other thing is just people don't care about certain stuff. Just to be doing just say certain stuff. You gotta be careful with that, man. So you gotta be careful.
Slick says, be smart. Ask for their proof against you in person in front of the arbitrators. That's true. You have to build a case on them as they do on you. They write you up on the point system and you build your case as well. That's true.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
But your ass better make sure they ain't got shit on you.
Right.
Because that was one key thing with me. Y'all talking about, I never had a negative performance report. So, Deonte, you learn. They were talking me like I'm just this slacker.
Right. You ain't did nothing.
You ain't got nothing on me.
Right.
Negative, no late audits. Keep in mind, after I resigned, they paid all this money for these forensic accountants to come through, which kind of standard. We're doing it. They didn't do it in the white guys.
Right.
But then they turn around and they actually had, I think, 3 or 4 consecutive negative reports for a state audit. Never had that in 15 years when I was there.
Right.
And I could always go back and say, that you were unappreciated, certain things happen. But again, when certain things are going so well, like you said, the temperature changing, work getting less. You see these signs, you know how things are going a certain way. You the stuff be written on the wall. You just can't lose your cool in regards to like, look, what they doing is they doing that. What they do is what they do. They can cover what they do. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about, and also a lot of times when we start talking about workplace racism, they deal with each other outside of work. You don't.
You don't get invited to that. And you wouldn't go any most of the time anyway.
So you don't know their bar conversations or their barbecue conversation. Hey, Deonte tried to apply for this job, this, that, and that. And
we gotta do everything we can to make sure he don't get it.
I didn't find out, and it's kind of, I look back at effed up. I didn't find out that the person that they gave the job to was a friend of the damn CFO. I found this out later. And you know the thing that bothers me the most? The people that told me that, they knew then.
Right.
Why I ain't say
I said not then. Right.
But it go back to sometimes people be so fearful or whatever. You know, because they were like, you know, I wish you hadn't told me that.
Right.
Like, I'm looking at you funny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people, that's why I say people do some dirty ass shit. But your focus got to be on that incident. And we start talking about, again, we're talking about forget my damn title, dealing with workplace racism while providing for your family. How do you balance them family obligations? Because one thing I will say, my ex-wife, she said something to me that always stuck with me. She's like, woo, you know, once you left that job, she said, you have really calmed down, ain't tense. Because I probably come home snappy or whatever like that. Because I was just effed up. You know what I'm saying? Right. And she's like, yeah, you don't really calm down, whatever. I think she just probably got a little mad. I was too happy. You know, being freedom. Like, oh, he's happy. He's, you know, breathing. But she did say, you know, notice that. But we started talking about balancing our family obligations. Trading Code said they didn't want you to go postal on their ass. Hey, that's I can't stress enough. And I'm glad that got called. Most of the time when I see people do stuff like that, you be like, man, where they friends at? Because a lot of times folks need to get stuff out and everything like that. Because you being hurt and being upset, sticking to you, that ain't the bad place.
Right. And it stick to you.
Yeah, too. And bust. That's why I say you see the man, the black man, not to justify anything, but you know that he got beat up all day, boy, N-word, this, all that stuff all day long, and he go home beat on his wife. He beat on his kids. He pissed drunk every day. Why? And it's not to make an excuse, but you look back at it, can you imagine what that person done went through? Like you said earlier, man, severe PTSD just from life. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
Just
battle just to make it to 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine the survival things that people, our grandparents, great grandparents had to do. I mean, and far too often people that are around now, it's easy to say, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't have did that. It's easy to say that because you were a black man in the 50s and it was known you had a gun, somebody might hang you. You might really couldn't get fair representation in court or whatever. So it's easy to say because you have the resources and things in place. Now, I wouldn't have did this, that wouldn't have did that. You don't know what the hell you
don't know what that.
And let's keep it real. People settle and deal with a whole lot of shit. A whole lot of shit, but they'll never make it be known because they get mistreated. They get punked at work and all this other kind of stuff. Everybody had their moments. Everybody had their moments. You know what I'm saying? Right. We all do that. You know, you just don't see mine, and I don't see yours. You know what I'm saying? And we take that shit home. We take that stuff, you know, with us.
And you know, one of the biggest things that we deal with, I'm looking at Slick's comment. She says you have to communicate with your partner to keep stress down at home. But a lot of times when we get home, we don't want to talk about that shit. Like it just, I don't know. You just don't want to talk about it. Like, I mean, and I've never had a job where I had to feel. I've always been the type of person, and people say, well, why do you do that? I always been the type of person where I try to protect myself from work, but I also been the type of person to let these motherfuckers know I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not finna bow down and step and fetch because as quickly as I start doing all that, you can fire me tomorrow. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bow to you or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna do my job to the best of my ability, and I'm gonna leave that where it's at. That's it.
What's the key problem with what Slick just said about going and venting to your partner?
A lot of times you seen as weak.
No. Well, that one I was looking at, you know, the problem I think with that is you might got an ignorant ass partner that tell you to do some shit that you definitely don't want to do. Cut their ass out. Leave out. I quit. I quit. Now you don't open yourself up to a person that you trust, you care about, and now they bring some shit like, man, I don't need to hear that.
Right.
You venting to them to maybe get some insight, get some, you know, a plan. I leave that. I do that. And now you and now you're dealing with them person.
Mm-hmm.
You still letting these folk do that with you. You still doing that, and you don't went to somebody that you had total confidence with, because you want to just be able to open up.
Right.
And now that's a whole nother headache.
That's a whole nother headache.
And then now you gotta go to your side girl. Now you gotta go sit here and
rubbing your back.
Yeah.
Telling you don't worry about that, baby.
Yeah,
it's
don't
okay.
worry about that, baby. Don't do that. I'm joking. I'm joking. Oh
She
boy.
telling you what you need.
Oh Lord. You really think I can? You really do. And the women had their side dudes do the same damn thing.
Right. I think the problem that we have with when it comes to our careers and our jobs is that we don't want to leave them, and we don't want to be treated badly at them. But the problem that we have is that we spend so much time, especially when you have college and stuff, we spend so much time trying to get to where we think we need to be when it comes to career-wise, going to school, getting these degrees, doing all these things that we think we need to do, being being interns and all that stuff that we think that we need to do in order to get this great job. And then we get this great job and it's crap. And we get treated like shit. I mean, crap, it's just terrible.
You're right. Like I say, theoretically, the job is fine. It's
right.
the people.
It's the people.
You know what I'm saying?
The people can infect the job.
Well, they run the job.
Right.
So that's the thing about it. They create the culture. They enforce the rules by how they want to do it. So it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're right about that. When we start talking about balancing family obligations, number one, providing for your family doesn't mean sacrificing your sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Providing for your family does not mean sacrificing your sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm telling you, man, when you go to work every day and you killing yourself at work and you had that stroke, I don't know why he did that.
Right.
I don't know why, what I'm saying, he shouldn't have did that.
Mm-hmm.
Hip pressure. And you sit there like, I did it for y'all.
Right.
I done gave up so much. I done did this, that, and that. And at the end of the day, you especially us with adult children, they'll be able to grow up and do what the hell they want to do. I did this for you. Right. And shit, that's what you want to do.
Right.
So you listen, providing for your family does not mean sacrificing your sanity. You better believe that shit. You better believe that shit for real.
As a person who was married for 25 years, it's very true, because you working for all this time trying to make sure ex-wife got credentials too, got degrees, nursing degree, couldn't keep a job to save her life. But at the same time, so she couldn't keep a job, so I had to keep a job. We got 3 children.
Yeah,
them children don't want to hear we can't eat tonight because both me and your mama don't have jobs. You get what I'm saying? So
absolutely. Somebody
had to keep a job, and as the society dictates, the man needs to be having a job. Yeah. The woman can have 5 or 6 jobs in 1 year, but I, as the man of the house, supposedly in quotations, you got, he ain't got no job, girl. Or, why you staying with the man? Got all that stuff comes into play, and I know women don't want to hear that, but it does come into play.
Well, that should have killed you trying to make sure you can say I don't give a damn,
right?
But just you want to still be, feel like a man. Get treated like a man, and hopefully you get viewed as a man. Mm-hmm. My whole I don't give a damn thing happened. When I went through a divorce, and I think a lot of times, a lot of folk go through this, men and women, where the other person will talk about you, this, that, and that, and it's not the people, because people tell you, man, it ain't true, don't let it bother you. It's not that what people say about you really bothers you. It's that person. There is certain things that I can say about a person that's close to me, it gonna hit different.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Just like another kid say something to your kid, and whatever, sticks and stones. Mm-hmm. But you say it cut. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be a lot of times to you already know, okay, I want to do this. But your woman say, damn, you ain't got no job. Mm-hmm. Damn, I'm tired of working. Damn, such went on a cruise. Mm-hmm. When we gonna go on a cruise? That shit with you, man.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, people can sit here and say, well, that don't listen to it and all that. Well, shit, you human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You human, right? So those kind of things we gotta be very protective of. Be honest at home about why you're mentally drained, not the vent, but to be a model of emotional truth. Again, with that said, I'm finna be real with you on that too. That don't mean that shit gonna get received as, oh, daddy just expressing himself, daddy just being honest. You could be still met, to that point. Like just say, when Slick say, hey, let your your partner can love you and care about you, but that they can say some of the most ignorant shit
at the wrong time.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Look, I don't need that. I don't need that. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that. I need hey, give me a plan or whatever. Right. And as we get older in relationships, those are kind of things that person at 22, 32, when you fell in love and married them, you don't really see those kind of things till you get older, because the life is life. And like, damn, man, this, I love that person, but damn, they stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like, hey, that kind of stuff.
They don't listen word for shit.
Yeah, don't listen word for shit. You saying all the wrong shit, Right. So those kind of things get me more impactful the older we get. If the job is toxic long term, start building an exit plan. Side hustle, saving, certification, resume upgrades. Look, man, Google, IBM, all these folks got free certification programs. Listen to me. I hear too often, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. What your ass don't want to do is keep getting your ass downgraded, humiliated, disrespected, and all that other kind of stuff. You better go get some more tools for the toolkit.
Most definitely.
You better get some, again, you sitting there just, number, which is most important, acknowledging this shit ain't right. But you choosing to still stay in that stuff, that's on you. And you might say, well, look, man, I can't do this, I can't do the opportunities here, this, that. I get it. But you need to be kind of getting other things in place, because what you don't want to have happen, they drop your ass and they're like, shit, now, man, whatever mode.
What I'm gonna do now?
Me and Lab just talked about it. I've been laid off before, you've been laid off before. Now we're in reactionary mode. Now we got to figure something out.
Right.
So you got them opportunities like that, kind of, try to start putting things in place. But look, let me try to protect myself or going forward, what can help me put myself in a better place, okay? Lastly, guys, again, we're talking about dealing with workplace racism while, taking care of your family. Lastly, and this goes, but we talked to the gentleman earlier, know your rights. Learn federal and state protections, right? Learn federal and state protections. Make sure, you speak with a legal expert if you face some kind of discrimination or retaliation. Make sure you talk to a legal expert, not a break room partner, not a pool hall partner, not a church member, right? Not nobody sitting there talking at the barber shop. Right. Make sure you talk to a legal expert if you face discrimination, retaliation. Sometimes the most empowering step is knowing the system. You can navigate or challenge it strategically. Right. You think it was right, and you know what's legal.
It's two different things.
Two different things. I can't stress that to you guys enough, man. And guys, I do want to say, I understand how it is to be stressed, right? But you don't have to choose between survival and self-respect. You ain't got to choose between.
And if you married, you got a spouse, she shouldn't want you to choose between that either.
No.
She shouldn't want you to choose between your survival and your self-respect, because it's only going to make things worse in a relationship if you can get disrespected every day because you're trying to survive to take care of something else. And trust me, as a person who dealt with that, where I had to survive. The worst place I ever felt racism was at the railroad. When I worked for Norfolk, when I worked at the railroad, I don't want to say the name, but when I worked at the railroad, that was the worst place I ever experienced racism. And I mean, outright N-word, this and that, and it was to the point to where it was like, I don't need this. Like, I wanted to work there because I always wanted to work at the railroad, but I actually wanted to be a conductor or engineer. So it's a process. So I didn't never go on the yard. I worked in the offices, but it was just it was rough. It was rough there. It was, it's 364 days a year, 24/7, and it's just the people that work there have been. They usually, and no offense to anybody, but they're usually from the rural areas.
With more compliance.
Right.
And more compliance and less asking about certain things.
Right.
But when we start talking about,
Confederate flags everywhere on the back of their trucks and all this, like, it's just how they work.
Let you turn around and put a red, green, and black flag up. Oh, it's a problem.
It's a problem. It's a
problem.
Right.
It's a problem. Let you put that black fist on the wall.
Right.
It's gonna be some problems. Hey, I definitely know it. But we start talking about you don't have to choose between survival and self-respect. Guys, know that you deserve both of them at work and at home.
Mm-hmm.
And working at home. I'm telling you though, when you care about yourself enough to know that you're not gonna waver between them two, man, life be so much happier.
Mm-hmm.
Life be so much happier. I understand the feel. I understand having obligations.
Yeah, stuff. Slick said starting over. The starting over process is the worst for most people.
Yeah, it's extremely frightening.
Mm-hmm.
To get into that. Mm-hmm. But like I said again, they put your ass in the ground.
Right.
Man, dang, man, yeah, that job, this, that. People got all kind of shit to say about what shit you would have did.
Right.
But they'll never sit and give you a hand while you're trying to go through the stuff. So protect you at all costs.
At all time.
All right. Well, listen, man, it's been a great conversation, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in and stuff like that. Been a busy ass month, Lab.
I know, right?
Busy ass month for a brother, man. But I want to tell all you guys from the bottom of my heart, I love you all, and I appreciate all the support. We keep grinding, man. Keep grinding. I think we had 26,000 for changing lives.
Okay.
Man, you know, push the information. If you haven't already, go to Changing Lives, hosted by Deonte Burden on YouTube. Check, subscribe to the channel. If you came in the middle of the show, you check out this video in its full entirety. Also check out all the other over 1,000 videos on the YouTube channel. So I hope the discussion helped you guys tonight. I hope it had a good impact on you and everything. But again, thank you so much. Love you all. Be safe. And I'll talk with you soon. Trey Cole, so great show. Great time. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. Appreciate everything, y'all. Y'all take it easy, all right?